You are listening to I Am Refocused Radio with your host, Shemaya Reed. This show is designed to inspire you to live your purpose and regain your focus. And now, here's your host, Shemaya Reed.
Hey, welcome to I Am Refocused Radio, man. We are here once again, and today, just like any other time, we have a special guest. We're going to be talking to Daniel Blue. Man, his resume is so impressive, man. I don't even want to take too much time to say it, but just a little quick sneak peek, man. He's an author. He's a Forbes contributor, podcast host, owner of Quest Education. And his mission is to help people take over not just their own life, but their finances. So, man, Daniel Blue, welcome to the show, man. How you doing?
Shemaya, thank you so much for having me on your show. I promise I don't say this every time I jump on a podcast, but you definitely do have a radio voice, like the 10 o'clock, jazz, just like slow, just like, nice and smooth voice. So I can see why you do what you do, brother.
Man, I appreciate that. I tell people all the time, it's just allergies, man. I have allergy season all year long. So
it helps your job. So I get you should be thanking the allergies.
Right. No, I'm just joking. That's been my whole life story. But no, man, you, Daniel, man, let's talk about just your life, man. You've been through some things, adversity, but you're also in today's time a true leader in making a huge impact in this world. So let's learn a little bit about you.
Yeah. So I think a good place to start is my childhood. I had a pretty average childhood growing up. We didn't have a ton of money, but we weren't poor. We were, middle class. And I was really close with my dad, good relationship with my mom, played sports, like really nothing to complain about. When I turned 12, that's when my life really changed. My parents got divorced and my dad ended up moving to Mexico. And when he moved, I didn't know why he moved. And all I knew was we stopped talking. I never saw him or talked to him. And now it's just my mom and I. And that really broke my heart because I was really tight with my dad. So just being able to go through that experience with my mom definitely set the tone. There was some ups and downs, a lot of challenges financially. And I remember just 13, 14, 16 years old, during those moments of adversity with money, it was, man, I don't want to live this way. When I get older, I do not want to live paycheck to paycheck. I want to help my mom. She's struggling right now. I got to pay her back because she's just amazing for doing what she did, raising me on her own, not getting any help from my dad. And there's got to be another way out. Like when I get older, like I'm going to make money. I don't know how, but I'm going to make money. And I stumbled into sales. I went to school, to college, because that's what society told me to do. But I dropped out 3 months into it. I had no real clear idea what I was going to school for. I felt like I was like, man, I want to go to school to become a doctor. I just signed up for school and I was like, man, this is not for me. Then I stumbled into sales right around that time. And I would say a big reason why I am where I am today in terms of, being a business owner and doing what I do today is definitely the relationship with my mom and, overcoming some of that adversity with, growing up without a dad. And then sales has been huge for me. Sales is what's allowed me to cultivate relationships and network and lead a team and, build a company, because I didn't grow up with money. I didn't have family members that had businesses show me, hey, here's how you start an LLC. Here's how you start a business. Here's how you deal with employees. Kind of just figured that out along the way. And luckily I did have some mentors, some people that were able to give me some advice, but most of it's been trial and error. Take action, make a mistake, fail, take a step back, figure out what I did wrong, and just keep going.
And when it comes to leadership, because that's something you definitely know about personally, not just for your personal life story, but just your journey being an entrepreneur. Are they natural born leaders, or is this something that people have to actually tap into throughout life?
Definitely experience. I mean, I do believe there's some kind of, I don't know how much, is it 1%? Is it 2% that Michael Jordan was born with this talent? Kobe Bryant was born with this talent. I'm sure there was a small amount of, they were born with this talent. So I think the same can be said with leaders, right? They were born with 1%, 2%, but the rest, the majority, is through experience. It's through adversity, right? We hear about Michael Jordan getting cut from his high school basketball team. Kobe Bryant having to play ball in Italy and deal with adversity there. We all have gone through some kind of struggle. And that's one thing that I love about being in business and being around other people that are ambitious, that are chasing a greater version of themselves. I've noticed that high level people, they've gone through some shit, right? Maybe they had a mom die at a young age. Maybe they overcame drug addiction. They grew up without a dad. They were homeless when they were 17 years old. They lived out of their car when they were 23 years old. There is something that they went through, because leadership starts within yourself, right? If you can't lead yourself, if you can't do the things that you say you're going to do and keep your own promises and have discipline and be a leader within yourself, how can you lead other people?
Man, that's a good point, because I always had a few moments on the show in the past where I'll tell people, until you pick a target, any target can be hit. So you got to make up in your mind, who you are, what are your gifts and talents, and then what was your why, of why you want to do what you do. And that's what you did with yourself. Explain the process of you discovering your why and discovering your journey as you went from this level to the level you are today.
I would say competitiveness has always been instilled in me. I grew up playing sports, so I've always been in a team-oriented sport. I played soccer, I played basketball. So being competitive, wanting to win was something that was instilled in me at a young age. But then I started to develop more of my why when my dad left. Again, there's something that you've gone through in your life that is going to serve as something that can make or break you, something that can keep you bitter, keep you down, or it serves as something that allows you to grow, that allows you to go to the next level. There's somebody wronged you, you got sick, a family member got sick, you lost a business, your girlfriend broke up with you, your boyfriend of your dreams broke up with you, like just some bad shit happened. And that event can be something, again, that holds you down or it picks you up. And for me, it was when my dad left. I held on to a lot of resentment, a lot of bitterness when I was 13, 14 years old, and I would see my friends had their dad around. And I'm like, well, why can't I have my dad around? Where is he at? So I started to develop that victim mentality of, feeling sorry for myself and being bitter. And having that type of mindset, it led me down a dark path. I ended up having an addiction to Oxycontin. I started using a lot of pills when I was 18 years old. And I did that to mask my pain. And before that, or at that time, if you were to ask my why, it was, man, I definitely want to live a better life in the future, not struggle financially, take care of my mom, and, just do good in society. But my actions weren't reflecting that, right? I'm over here, abusing Oxycontin. And really my life became to come into shape when I had my daughter. I ended up having a daughter at 19 years old. I was 18 years old when I got her mom pregnant, and it wasn't planned. And I remember being really scared, really nervous, but I kept using drugs. My daughter came into my life, and she was definitely the catalyst to, one, help me get clean from drugs, but then two, help me forgive my father. I remember holding my daughter. She was really, really small, right? She was like 2 weeks old, and I'm just holding her. And I just remember thinking, man, like, this is a trip. Like, this is my blood. This is my kid. This is just so amazing that my blood isn't her blood. And then I just remember thinking, man, that's how my dad thinks, right? Like, I'm his son, I'm his kid. Yeah, he messed up, but that's my dad. I only have one dad. And immediately I shifted my mentality. And instead of thinking, why me, being a victim, being mad at my dad, I became grateful. I thought, you know what? I'm glad I even had a dad. I'm grateful that my dad was really, really awesome up until I was 12 years old. Some kids don't even have a dad. Some kids have a dad and they're a piece of shit their whole lives. I'm grateful that I even had a dad, and I forgave him. I found peace in my life at that point. And it was really, really, that's the right word. It was like a weight off of my back, a monkey off my back, where I was able to move on. So I invite anyone that is listening right now that has some kind of resentment, some kind of forgiveness, or some kind of resentment towards somebody, and you really have struggled to forgive them, remember, forgiving them doesn't mean you forget. Forgiving them isn't about them. It's not letting them off the hook. I didn't let my dad off the hook. I didn't forget about him just bailing on me and my mom, but I forgave him. He's human. He makes mistakes just like I do. And me forgiving him helps me. It helps me flush out all the bad negative energy so I can be a better person, so I can be happier. And it's about me being a better person, and being able to forgive people allows you to do that. So that was definitely something that helped shape my why in terms of, okay, cool. Now I've got a daughter. I've got to make sure that I'm not a piece of shit drug addict. As my daughter gets older, I've got to be a really good role model for her.
Once again, listen to Untitled Focus Radio, talking to our special guest, Daniel Blue. And man, everything he's saying, I mean, is powerful, because we can choose to become better, but what comes after that choice? And it's not just consistency, but it's a commitment to that. And touch on that for the audience, because when someone makes their mind up that they want to do something, it's one thing to have a quote unquote strong, confident mindset, but it's another different ball game when you have to wake up on days that you don't feel like that, right? But you still got to push through.
Yeah, one of my mentors says something to me that I'll never forget. Do it despite how you feel, right? You know you need to go to the gym in the morning, but you wake up and it's dark outside and you don't want to go. When you don't go, you regret it, right? How many times have you not gone and you're like, man, I wish I would have gone, right? And then on the flip side, when you don't feel like going and then you go, you get done, you're like, man, I'm so glad I made that decision. That applies to so many things, right? There's going to be a ton of moments where there's something you need to do. You need to have that conversation with somebody. You need to send that last email. You need to make that phone call. You need to film a piece of content. You need to do a video. You need to make a post. Like, there's just something that you don't want to do. But if you just get in the habit of just doing it despite how you feel, basically your commitment to achieving X has to be far greater than your emotion of not wanting to do something, because that emotion is temporary, right? But your commitment's got to be permanent. If that commitment is stronger than your emotion of not wanting to do something, then it's okay to have those feelings of not wanting to do something. We all have them, but your commitment, your dedication has to be far greater than that bullshit excuse that is keeping you from wanting to do something.
I like that mindset, because you either committed to excuses or you committed to do you know what thing.
Amen.
And with that, let's talk also about, before your company, your business, let's talk about the fact that you are a Forbes contributor. I think that is so awesome. I mean, I'm sure you hear all the time, everyone wants to be on the Forbes list or this and that. But with your experience, being able to share your expertise and knowledge on a platform such as that, which is well respected by many people, what is that like for you?
It's part of the process. And what I mean by that is, if you're listening to this and you want to promote a service, or you have a service, or you're an entrepreneur, or you want to become an entrepreneur, you have to be able to build a brand. And, when most people think of a brand, they're thinking of something just like crazy, unobtainable, right? Like, oh my gosh, the Kardashians, their brand, right? Well, everyone's got a brand. And my mission, my company, my team, what we do is we help people access their 401k and IRAs penalty and tax free. Like that's our business model. Every day we're in the trenches helping Americans free up their retirement accounts, access that money penalty and tax free, so they can use that money to fund a business. They can use that money to invest into real estate, invest into crypto. Like, that's our bread and butter. And that requires people to know about us. And if you are the captain of the ship, if you own this business, even if it's just you, even if it's just one or two employees, but if you've made that commitment that's what you do, right? You sell this or you service this, then it's on you to get attention. It's on you for people to know about you, to know, like, and trust you. And that's why branding is not just you do one thing and then you sit back and then you reap the fruits of your labor. Oh, branding takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of work. That's why not everyone has it. I don't even have it all figured out. I'm still in the trenches. I'm still in the mode of learning, and still the mindset or the mode of making progress. Still, I'm far from the finish line. But the way I look at it is, okay, if I can have a book, if I can have a podcast, if I can be on Forbes, if I can write articles, if I can post on social media consistently, if I can do videos, if I can speak in front of people, right? If I can be on podcasts, all of these different channels. And if I do that long enough, then I can start to create some momentum. I can start to build some authority in the marketplace. I can start to get people to know, like, and trust me. And that doesn't happen overnight. And there's been plenty of times where I want to just be done with it because I don't see the results. But then all it takes is that one win to remind you why you're doing what you're doing. But then also it takes you being realistic. It's not going to happen overnight. You're going to have a lot of posts you make on social media that have shit engagement. 5 people like your post. One of them is your mom. Okay. Like, you just got to keep showing up. And if you keep doing that long enough, you're going to get better at what you're doing, whether it's speaking, whether it's writing, whether it's doing video. You're just naturally going to get better, and you're going to start to gain traction over a period of time, and the results will be there.
I love how you said that, because I always, when people are talking, I always think with my mind visually. Like, I imagine the person talking like they're acting out in a movie. And I couldn't help but see, like, when you talked about the likes and stuff, we always get caught up in the numbers. You know, man, I just need 5,000 people to like me, or I just need, 10 million followers. Well, it's like, we want people to show up to our games, but we don't show up to practice. If you want people to show up to your games, then you got to show up to practice every day, because what you do in your practice, you're going to do in your games. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, and just remember, there's a lot more than the surface. And I'll just use a real life example. I made a post last week on Facebook. Actually had a Forbes article get released that had some of my writing, and I shared it on social media. It didn't get the best engagement, but I got a DM from somebody like an hour after I made the post. And he's just like, hey, man, I saw your Forbes article. Can you help me with this? This dude didn't like my post. He didn't make a comment, but he saw it. And then he reached out to me, right? So again, you can't get caught up in the likes and the comments, because there's people that are watching. They are seeing your stuff, and they might not always like and comment and engage as much as you want them to, because it does help the algorithm. You do have a lot of people that are watching you. And that's why it's your duty to show up.
And that's a great segue into this next question. When people are trying to practice and stay consistent with their new mindset, their new goals, and their new commitment, because they listen to people like you and other sources, platforms, how do they start then eliminating those limiting thoughts that peep in their head? They sneak back, right? It's like the old me. The old me is trying to get me, the lazy guy is trying to grab the successful guy who's trying to be consistent. How you start then at that point taking action to start eliminating those limiting thoughts?
You got to create some momentum. You got to get some wins, and they don't have to be big wins, but you got to start building some credibility in yourself and some confidence in yourself. And the easiest way to do that is by doing things that you say you're going to do and following through with your own promises. I'm going to read 10 pages a day. I'm going to go to the gym tomorrow. I'm going to send 10 emails out. I'm going to do a video, right? Like, just something that you say you're going to do, and then you do it. And the more you do that, you start to build equity within yourself. You start to deposit confidence. And now your mind starts to believe when you say you're going to do something. And then you start to get a little bit of swag when you start doing that, because you start building some momentum. That, and you combine that with surrounding yourself with people that are chasing something greater is helpful too. Like, who is in your circle? If you have some limiting beliefs if you have some low confidence going on, one, you're probably not doing the things that you know you need to be doing, and you're cutting corners, right? You used to go to work to the gym, but you don't go to the gym anymore. You used to read self-development books, but you don't read self-development books anymore. You used to listen to some podcasts, but you don't do it anymore. And then when you're around other people, like, for example, I choose to invest my money and time into masterminds, into groups of other entrepreneurs that come together that are there to grow. And these are other people that are performing at a really high level. And when I'm around that, it's contagious. I see this guy over here winning. This lady over here just released a book. This guy over here just hit 5 million in revenue, right? You see all of these things, and it's like, man, like, if they can do it, why can't I? So that's really important. Your environment. Who are you surrounding yourself with? Are you surrounding yourself with people that are winning, that are doing things at a higher level than you are? They're places that you want to go? Or are they, your high school friends that hit up the bar every weekend? And I'm not saying that, if you hit the bar every weekend, you're a piece of shit human being. It's just someone that hits the bar every single weekend has a different mindset, a different place they want to go versus maybe someone listening to this podcast right now.
Once again, listen to I Am Refocused Radio, talking to Daniel Blue. And man, the time we have left, man, let's push your website, your business, yourquest.com. You kind of touched a little bit earlier in the episode about what you're all about. But when someone's looking at your services, what's the main thing that you hope that they prepare for before they are ready to talk to you?
Yeah, mainly what's the goal? And we've helped a lot of people over the years. We've got customers in all 50 states, got about 1,100 customers, and we've done some really cool things. Like, we helped a lady start a school. She wanted to start a school. She started it during COVID, and she needed funding to get this school going. And she happened to have a 401k from an old job. We helped her access that retirement account, penalty and tax-free, and she used that money to fund her business, right? So if you're listening to this right now and you've got a 401k or you've got an IRA, and the idea of accessing that money, penalty and tax-free, appeals to you, then what you learned from me, what you learned from my team, we definitely can help out. Best place would be going to my personal website, which is danielblue.me. And that has links to my company website, but also has information, a bunch of free information, articles that I've written on self-directed retirement accounts, because that's the service that we sell, which allows people to control and free up their retirement accounts. And then my website has access to my podcast. I've got a podcast called How Winners Win, where the mission there is to help people win in their financial life, their business life, their personal life. And then you can pick up a copy of my book on my website. I wrote a book called Blueprint to Your Best Retirement that helps people understand how they can access their retirement account, penalty and tax-free. So a lot of good resources that people can be able to pick up if they were to visit my website.
Well, there you go. If you listen to this right now, man, go to his personal website, danielblue.me, and also check out his awesome podcast, How Winners Win. I did check you out, man, because I can't remember the guest you had, but it was about the kid who had all those book sales, and his dad was on the show.
Oh, Caleb awesome. Maddox.
Yeah.
He's a stud, man. Like, he made me feel like shit, bro, because he made his first million at 16 years old, right?
Yeah, he made it look easy, man. But his dad, though, with the firepower and the awesome golden nuggets of wisdom that he shared on your show, that was awesome.
His dad was a great guest. I mean, his son obviously was a great guest as well, but it just goes to show, man, like, parents are so key to the future. Parents are so important to our world, right? It's hard to say that, Caleb, who has spoken on stage with Tony Robbins, who became a millionaire at 16 years old, who's done all these great things, would he have become the person he has become if it wasn't for his dad? Right. And, so if you're a parent right now and you've got kids, like, I think we kind of forget. I know I forget sometimes. I get caught up in my day to day that, my daughter is watching. She might not say it all the time, but she's listening. She's seeing what I do, what I don't do, and the kind of example that I'm leaving for her. And so it's a cool thing, challenging, obviously, especially having a 13-year-old daughter who thinks she knows everything. But it's on us to shape the future.
Once again, true honor talking to the one and only Daniel Blue. I like to say, we said earlier in the show, leadership starts within you. So you listen to this right now, make sure you go to his website, danielblue.me, for all his personal stuff, and also his company's site. Can you do that for the audience again?
My company is called Quest Education, and our website is yourquest.com. But if you head over to danielblue.me, the link to my company's website is there, plus a bunch of free information and other information that you won't find on my company's website on danielblue.me.
Once again, true honor having you just drop that golden knowledge. I mean, man, that's why stories are so powerful. We all have one. So I want to say thank you, Daniel, for taking time. Your super busy schedule to talk to I Am Refocused Radio.
Hey, brother, thank you so much for having me on your show.
I Am Refocused Radio is brought to you by Foo 4 Star and Holy Crab. Foo 4 Star is a family-owned Asian restaurant in San Antonio, Texas. We have been a local favorite for Asian cuisine for over 10 years. With nothing but full smiles and fast service, you'll be leaving satisfied. Come on in for some authentic Vietnamese food. Holy Crab is one-of-a-kind Cajun Creole-style seafood restaurant located in Universal City, Texas. We offer traditional seafood items as well as chicken and steak. We also offer seafood boils. Come give us a try. You won't be disappointed. You can find these two eateries in Universal City, Texas at 2921 Pat Booker Road.